About bad things that are happening to the American public.
Anna Marie, I've got to interrupt you very, very briefly. I'm so sorry, but George Zimmerman's attorney, Mark O'Meara, is speaking in Florida now, so we have to take this live.
I think it was, what, 155 plus another 30, 185. I just don't keep the active daily track of it that I know you guys want me to. All right, thanks very much. Appreciate the time. Thank you.
Joyanne, that was Mark O'Meara, George Zimmerman's lawyer. George Zimmerman's bail has been revoked today. Can you tell us why that has happened?
Yeah, so basically what happened was the prosecutor moved to have George Zimmerman's bond revoked. If you recall back in April when the bond hearing took place, both Zimmerman and his family, his mom and dad, his wife, pleaded indigence. They essentially said they had no income coming in. Neither he nor his wife were working. And his parents said that while they do own a house in Lake Mary, an affluent near-door neighbor to Sanford, Florida, they had nothing. So
when you use the word indigent,
right.
You mean
poverty, essentially. They essentially said they had no assets, they had no funds,
liquid capital.
Nothing they could sell even. They even said they had no assets that they could sell. There's a mortgage on the parents' house.
Right.
George Zimmerman was renting the house in Sanford where he lived. He was not a homeowner. So they essentially said they had nothing they could sell but a car. They had no liquid assets. So therefore, the bail is based on the finances of the person requesting it. It's not based on the severity of the crime. So $150,000 was considered reasonable for someone who is indigent.
Thank you so much. The lawyers for the Martin family are speaking now.
At the crux of the matter in this whole case, Judge Lester's finding that George Zimmerman was dishonest is very important because his credibility is the most important thing in this entire case. Remember, it is only George Zimmerman's testimony that says Trayvon Martin attacked him. All the other objective evidence suggests that George Zimmerman pursued and confronted Trayvon Martin. Therefore, that's why this is such an important ruling today. The credibility is the issue, and we think it is the most important ruling so far in this entire case.
You've been arguing all along that you didn't think he deserved bond and that he should not have been let out. The prosecutor used the word lie.
Well, we think this prosecution made a very compelling case that you all can listen to for yourself, and the judge listened to that testimony and based on the evidence before him made a ruling that he thought was appropriate based on the law. And it is important that we consider to make everything based on the law. Now, I will say that Trayvon's mother and father have always maintained that the killer of their unarmed son should remain in custody until they have the trial, and everybody then will be able to have all the evidence out there. And that's a parent. That's a grieving parent saying, I want the person who killed my son to be put in jail, because they've always believed if the shoe was on the other foot, that Trayvon Martin would have been put in jail on day one and he would not have been given bail. They've only asked for equal justice, nothing more, nothing less.
So when he turns himself in, assuming he does as demanded by the court, do you believe that he should have the right to make a claim for another bond?
Well, again, the parents have always said that they want the killer of their son to remain in custody until the trial. Now, it will be based on the law and Judge Lester's ruling whether or not he will release George Zimmerman, but he has to look at the evidence of what has transpired at that bond hearing and what has transpired based on the evidence he considered today that the special prosecutor had presented through their office in their discovery.
Have you talked to Sabrina or Tracy? Any reaction?
I'm looking forward to going to call them now. As you would expect, they have been watching this intensely because that's their son that died here. And, you know, it's important to them for just obvious reasons, but when your son is killed and then there's all these things being said, you want to pay attention so you can defend your son's honor. And that's all these parents have been trying to do. They're doing what any other parent would have done in the same situation.
Did we learn anything new about Mr. Zimmerman today then?
Well,
I think it's important that one of the things you saw in there today, it was rather obvious that on the day of the bond hearing, George Zimmerman sat there and saw a parade of witnesses, a parade of testimony, right, with the sole intent of proving that he was almost
We're watching an ad hoc news conference at the moment where Benjamin Crump has just been speaking. He's the lawyer for the Trayvon Martin family. The news is that George Zimmerman's bail has been revoked, and in 48 hours he'll be returned to custody after the prosecution said he lied about his personal assets and possession of a second passport. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.